Viewers, welcome back to the Personal Injury Law Show. Now, Nuncio, before the break, we're talking about this plastic surgery and cosmetic surgery debate, and also the cost of it and whether it's picked up by Medicare and that.
Yep.
Before we get into anything else, tell us a bit about the legislation that was passed in 2010.
Yeah, look, there's with regard to Queensland, they're almost, I suppose, a silo to all the other states in the sense that they've got different aspects regarding cosmetic surgery. There's two things. One, as Dr. Callis mentioned, is that teenagers can't perform cosmetic surgery on teenagers, which is one aspect of it. And the second one also is that cosmetic surgery can only be performed by plastic surgeons who are members of the fellowship of the Royal Australasia College of Surgeons. So they're different to other states, and look, I like it, to be honest, because I think they've taken care and they're a bit more stringent in their, I suppose, the way they're dealing with it.
Well, I don't particularly like it because it means that I don't think there's enough surgeons going around, Alice. There's 300 plastic and reconstructive surgeons in Australia, and the number of procedures have increased 50, 100-fold.
Look, Tony, it's true. There's a big dichotomy between plastic and reconstructive surgery and what they call aesthetic or cosmetic surgery, more elective style surgery. And yes, there's not as many plastic surgeons as there is demand for the surgery itself, but there are so many issues because there's so many different types. I tend to agree with Nuncio that it's better, that the regulation is a little stricter, it's a little more forceful in Queensland, because, okay, even if I'm under 18 and I've had a car accident and I need the permission, at least someone's looking into it for me, because I don't have as much protection because I'm under 18. I don't know as much.
Well, on that note, Alice, let's go and see the second half of Dr. Callis's video. Are there enough plastic surgeons in this country to deal with the increase in what is known as these days as appearance surgery?
From a plastic surgeon's point of view, the main thing is that we should be training sufficient plastic surgeons in the art of aesthetic plastic surgery. In other words, a plastic surgeon finishing training, which is based in a public hospital, would have had a lot of exposure to trauma, cancer and burns and be an excellent surgeon, but not really have training in the finer, subtle points of aesthetic plastic surgery. And I would like to see more exposure during their training and even after their training. Of course, aesthetic plastic surgery doesn't appeal to every plastic surgeon. Many plastic surgeons go into the subspecialty of hand surgery, or head and neck cancer surgery, or paediatric cleft lip and palate surgery. But there are a significant number, or there is still a significant number who are interested in aesthetic plastic surgery, and I think it's becoming increasingly a subspecialty within plastic surgery.
Doctor, do you think the amendment to the legislation in relation to advertising protects the community enough?
Well, yes, Tony. I think that the Australian Health Practitioners Regulation Authority recently enacted regulations specifically designed to protect the public from unscrupulous operators. And the way these operators typically attract patients is by advertising, sometimes even false advertising. We must just say buyer beware. People must be very aware that not everything they see or read on the internet is going to be accurate.
Doctor, I want to thank you for your time. It's been sensational. It's been very enlightening to the public. I know I had a misconception about it myself, but you've really shed a bit of light on it. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks, Doctor. Nuncio, Dr. Callis in his rooms, he talks about a lot of issues. He brings up the issue about legislation and demand. He says there's enough surgeons going around.
Yeah, he does. And look, I was going to pose this question to you, Tony, before the video. Who would you rather be performed surgery on you by? A plastic surgeon who's had the 12 years specialty qualifications and training, or a cosmetic surgeon who you don't really know their background?
Well, I'd trust Dr. Callis to do it because I love his rooms. I think he's eminent. I think he knows what he's doing. He looks like he's very specialist in his area.
He does.
But having said that, there's a lot of procedures. If you go through the different types of things that people get done, there's rhinoplasty, liposuction, breast implants, lips, eyes, ears, nose. There's every body part that's being touched these days. Now, what the Cosmetic Surgeons Association is saying, Alice, that they do these surgeries every day.
They do.
And through, I guess, trial and error to some extent, they're experts in their field.
Look, that's true, that's the position, and we mustn't forget that surgery is not a perfect art on any day of the week, but at the same time, call me a little bit too safe, but I would prefer a plastic and reconstructive surgeon because I know the medical training that goes into that kind of qualification, and I think it's really important. And I think also, you know, the legislation isn't too regulatory here in Victoria, it's more regulatory in Queensland. What you'd really want to see is what the difference was in the amount of claims that are being brought or the analysis of how it's affecting the industry in general. But it's a big industry, it costs a lot of money to have a procedure done, especially if it's not for medical reasons. Medicare covers very little, okay, it covers the PIP.
Even private health insurance as well.
That's correct, private health insurance will make you pay for it. And I think at the end of the day that people are sinking a lot of money into it, so you would want to know, not that just that you're getting value for money which stops you from going overseas, but also that you're putting money into something that's a safe procedure, it's going to achieve the result you want and not that you're not going to end up worse off than you were when you started.
I believe personally that people are going overseas because if we leave the surgery to 300 people, it's going to be very expensive.
Yep.
Demand and supply. The more people that are out there, the cheaper it becomes. It stands to reason.
I agree, but as I said before, the figures are showing that they're spending more because of the post-operative care, so it's a double-edged sword, Tony. And
I'm not sure if that's right because if you talk about people who've gone overseas to repair teeth and things like that, they say they get the cost of repairs 20% of the cost they have to pay here.
But that's the repair. But then what happens if there's complications? You know, time off work.
That's another
got to
issue.
come back. So I'd rather be in my home state if I was going to have surgery, but that's a personal thing.
There's also an issue there, Alice, that if you've been overseas and you've had a botched operation, the surgeons here might be loath to try and fix it up. Or
That's
touch
right.
you.
Look, they can be reluctant, it's true. Certainly there is a little bit of, well, it's not my work and I'm not really comfortable fixing it because I don't know how it's done in the first place. But having said that, I don't think you'll get outright refused. It just complicates the matter because the surgeon's going in blind. All they know is what the patient's presenting with. They don't know how the surgery is being done because it's been done in a different area.
Well, when I was speaking to Dr. Callis in that video, he says that the operations are necessary and that they're not vain people we're dealing with. I don't agree with that because I think the majority of these surgeries are vanity. Now, someone that's that vain, that's got a little wrinkle under their eye or something on top of their head or just under their chin, they're never going to be happy. There's no amount of treatment you're going to give them that's going to make them happy, Alice.
Look, this is a risk, it's true. The mentality of the patient plays a really big part in this sort of surgery, and it's true that a lot of the cosmetic surgery gets done purely for cosmetic reasons. But the flip side of that is that there are a lot of women out there, for example, having breast reductions because they have back and neck issues, and so on and so forth, having
I'd
scars
have
fixed.
to guess there's a lot more having breast enlargements than reductions. What do you
probably
think?
true.
Nooks? You're probably the
I'm not
expert on
going
this
to
one.
comment on that one, Tony.
I think you'd know more about it than any of us, but what do you think? There's more breast enlargements.
Look, I think there's so many different procedures that it opens up a raft of issues. So, look, I think you've got to take it in isolation. So that's all I'll say for now, Tony.
Viewers, we've got to go to a sponsors break, so stay tuned. After the break, we're going to be going to some cases. Thank you.